This peach cider has been a quick project of mine. I just got this peach cider a few weeks ago from a farmer's market. We're in that season where you're able to get some fresh ciders and juices and stuff. I got one apple cider here that I'd like to try, and then this was a peach cider, which I'm sure is going to be great. I just added the yeast about a week ago, added that to the rest of the cider, and then put the air trap on. I've let it go for about a week-ish now. I like to take it typically until it really just stops bubbling, and then I transfer it into another container, and that's what I'm gonna do now. You can see all the yeast at the bottom, and it's taken a lot of time for all of that to settle out. So I'll pull the cork for the first time now in about 2 weeks. It smells real good, that's for sure, very peachy. I'll put the tube in that I'll use to siphon it. What I'll do is bring the tube as low as I can without hitting the yeast. You don't want to hit the yeast, so I'm just gonna bring it down until it's around there, and then start the siphoning. I'll run it through and then just start the siphoning into the glass. You see I have some clearance between the tube and the yeast. As we get lower, I'll probably bring it closer real slowly, but you really have to be careful there because you definitely don't want to hit the yeast. All right, it's getting pretty close to the top here. I'll switch it to the second bottle. The system I like to do is just use a pretty weak cork right in the top here, so it's not super tight. It's tight enough that it'll keep it from leaking. I could dip this upside down, it would be no problem. But if this continues to build pressure, if it continued to ferment, it would just blow the cork off. There's been some situations, especially if you have a really tight cap and you bottle these up, or you do a full cork and a cap, so much pressure can build inside of the glass and it can explode. If you don't stop the fermentation process, and there's different multiple ways to do that, I just like to keep it like this. I run it all the way till all the sugar burns out, then I bottle it. So there shouldn't really be any fermentation going on, but it's always great to have just a loose cork up there. So if there is any pressure, it'll just blow the cork off and it's no big deal. After this second bottle, we'll fill into this goblet so we can try it. And we'll switch that right over. And I'll lower this closer to the yeast now. And it's lower risk now because if I accidentally dump or dip into the yeast, it's just gonna go into that small goblet. It's not as big of a deal. Close there, and I'm actually about to pinch off the hose. I don't wanna let it quite suck in all the yeast if it wants to, so about right here, I'm gonna just pinch it. And just like that, that's good. After about a week and a half, 2 weeks of fermenting, this is what we got, and let's see how we did. Wow, I think that's really good. I've never made peach cider before. I've never actually had peach cider before. It is really flavorful like peach. It's actually quite sweet. I'm surprised at how sweet it still tastes after fermenting for so long.